Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming you all to International Affairs. This is being broadcasted from the SATV's Gulshan studio, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho as I bring you the latest updates from around the globe as well as here in Bangladesh. Before I begin, I will introduce my panel. There is a breaking news. The U.S. Central Command said its forces will support merchant vessels seeking to freely transit the Strait of Hormuz under President Donald Trump's Project Freedom. This is taking place from sharp on Monday today. Before I begin the discussion, I want to introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have retired Major Dr. Nasir Uddin Ahmed, who is of course a veteran, a military analyst, a columnist, as well as talking on various international and national issues. Sir, I welcome you onto the program. Alongside, I will have from Washington, District of Columbia, Norman Floyd Barnes. I give him a good morning as well. I want to begin in the studio with Dr. Nasir. As we were talking, the Project Freedom, something new that Donald Trump has implemented in the Middle East. There has been intense strategy how to open the Strait of Hormuz. However, Iran is stating, senior lawmakers in Iran are saying that any U.S. involvement in managing shipping through the Strait of Hormuz will be considered a violation of the ceasefire. How do you see this? Is this a precursor to more confrontational attacks in the coming days?
Thank you, Bhatta, and very warm greetings to my dear viewers. At the very outset, I would like to say the very term of the operation is going on. They are calling it a Project No More operation. Previously, they have gone for Operation Epic Fury.
Right.
Now, they are not terming it as a operation, which means that they are now at least understood that war is not the solution. Operation or military operation is not the solution. So now they are trying to involve others with them as they have miserably failed to integrate other countries as far as Strait of Hormuz freedom is concerned. They have called other coalition forces, NATO countries, and even the countries of the Middle East region that let us do something combinedly. And a very recent disintegration of OPEC and OPEC Plus was basing on this issue. UAE was interested for a joint operation in the Hormuz and inside even to the territory of Iran. But they did not get support from Saudi Arabia, countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and other Kuwait and many other countries which are militarily little strong. And that indicates that Donald Trump has miserably failed to get others getting involved as far as Hormuz freedom is concerned. It is totally under the grip of Iran now. On this scenario, he has given a project now, no more operation. He has given a project that the name you have said that Project Freedom. Project Freedom, as in his statement, he has said that will have to be dealt with forcibly if required. That is the quote unquote statement made by the President of the USA, Donald Trump, in a news conference. So if it is a forcibly measured to be taken under certain force, and force definitely it's a military force, and that is going to again destabilize the situation in Hormuz and in the greater region of Middle East. By this time, Iran has already reacted by saying that it will violate the ceasefire. The lawmaker Ibrahim Azizi,
right,
he has clearly said that this will be a contrast with the ceasefire agreement or ceasefire situation. And on the top of it, Iran has already passed 14 points proposal to USA. And without reading it, Donald Trump has said it is unacceptable and I think it is not going to work, without even reading it. But he did not reject it. He did not give any more timeline that within this time I am going to do this and that. So by this time, already Americans are realizing, the other countries are realizing this disintegration of your organizations like OPEC and OPEC Plus. Again, another new development, withdrawal of troops from Germany, US troops from Germany, which is again right, concerning the security of the NATO enlisted countries. So all this together is putting Donald Trump in a very critical situation at the eve of his next midterm election. So altogether, I should say, situation in the Middle East, whatever they project or operation they are doing, this is not going to be within the grip of USA now. It is going to be, it is going to out of the grip of USA, which means a huge blow to the supremacy of the America as a whole and the supremacy of the US defense forces.
Right.
And news media already is telling that it amounts to withdrawal of US troops from Vietnam and Iraq. They have their very bad experience in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, even Cuba, Somalia. So it is not that USA troops are the supreme in the whole world everywhere.
Right.
Situation depends. And after so many operations, after so many pounding, after so many military exercises, they could not bow down Iran. So now it is a question, what will be the next step from the US administration?
Right, a very descriptive analysis regarding the situation in the Middle East. I quite enjoy this update regarding the various countries that are having issues with the United States of America. I want to connect with Norman Floyd Barnes, our Washington DC geopolitical correspondent. A very good morning to you, sir. There has been an update regarding the Strait of Hormuz. Ibrahim Azizi, the head of the Iranian Parliament National Security and Foreign Policy Commission, says any American interference in the new maritime regime of the Strait of Hormuz shall be considered a violation of the ceasefire. On the other hand, Donald Trump is steady with his Project Freedom to move commercial vessels along the strait. I want to ask you how you felt about this very update and following through on the latest updates that you have for us from Washington. Norman, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to all. It appears this morning that we are now in a conflict of words. The president had introduced this Project Freedom, stating that it will use the word guide instead of escort ships, neutral country ships through the strait. Iran has responded that any intervention by a U.S. Military vessel will be responded by. They will have military actions. They will basically attack these vehicles trying to enter the area. So what that means is that you have these tankers who want to leave the area, but because of this mixed message, I'm going to guide you versus escort you through. Iran is saying if you try to come through without our assistance, you will be coming under attack, which puts it back in the same situation. You will get very few companies that will risk. Insurance companies, they have insurance companies that will risk their cargo to go through something that is not verified for both countries. So right now, I don't see many opportunities for this Project Freedom to create any freedom for anyone. It's just too much of a risk, and they have not shown. The United have shown. They say they have vessels in the area, but not escorting them. So that's not good enough for these mega companies and the insurance companies. They need some reassurance that this thing is going to be peaceful. And the only way that can happen is that we have to end the ceasefire has to be to a point where the understanding comes where there will be no more hostilities between the two countries in that area, and free trade will be allowed to continue. However, in the 14 points put out by Iran, they will maintain the control of that area. And also, they also requesting that we remove our troops from that region, and Israel stop the hostilities on southern Lebanon and the region. So these are some of the issues we are dealing with in regards to this Project Freedom concession. It still doesn't address the issue. The issue is that we still have conflict, we still have confusion, and we do not have apparently good communications right now.
Right. Very updated information coming from Norman Floyd Barnes regarding the Strait of Hormuz. And why we should continue to talk about this very event is because it raises, as Norman mentioned, no company, no insurance company would risk their premiums on uncertain waters of travel between the strait. I want to ask Dr. Nasir, as Norman was talking about insurance issue regarding the movement, there are two nations who one can regard as America's allies in the region. In the Asia Pacific region, we have Japan, who is seen to be an ally of the US. The Prime Minister of Japan, Sanae Takaichi, is making comments that because of this oil issue in the Middle East, there has been a global oil supply squeeze, and shipping distributions in Asia and in broad context South Asia as well. I want to ask you, sir, the effects are now lingering. 65 days of this confrontational confusion worldwide is still continuing, with comments being made by Donald Trump, the US president, as well as I said, Mr. Azizi of the Iranian parliament. As I want to ask you, how much longer can the humanity burden this kind of stresses? And of course, 2026 happened to be the year that changes friendships into rivalries as well.
Okay. I would like to emphasize on few aspects related to that before going to the direct question, answer to your question. First of all, Donald Trump has already written one letter to the senators saying that the Iran war is almost over. Already he remarked like that, number one. Number two, you see this Project Freedom. Under this cover, definitely some ships will come out, because Iran is not saying that none of the ships should go out. Iran is telling that this can go, but they will have to pay for the use of this Strait of Hormuz, the water territory of the Iran, in terms of Chinese currency, that is yuan. So, paying that currency, some of the ships could come out, giving some extra charges for their insurance and other things. But the main problem was that blockade by the USA itself. Now, Donald Trump is telling that, okay, if we will go to rescue those ships which are now stranded in the Strait of Hormuz, and we'll come we'll make sure that it comes out safely. Iran has already given this offer. So, if the ships are coming out safely, paying the Chinese currency for the use of a Strait of Hormuz water territory, definitely that will welcome by the Iran as well. Then Donald Trump will claim this is my victory. Yeah, and the operation, the Project Freedom is successful. So many ships have come out. But fact is that it is the blockade of the USA itself which is not encouraging the ships to come out, and also multiplying the insurance value. This is one. Number two, as you have rightly said, that how far this war can continue and the human being can bear its cost. Already in the previous talk show and many other discussion, we have come to know the budget airlines are being shut down.
Spirit Airlines being the first.
Yes, and many of the flights, hundreds of airlines, they have reduced their schedule, and thousands of flights have been cancelled. And its impact is being faced even by the poor farmer of Bangladesh, 1,000 kilometers away from the Strait of Hormuz, but they are paying for it. You know, there was a disruption in the mobile phone communication system also, because those batteries are not being charged because of there is no diesel, no generator is running, and electricity we cannot give in that way. And this is how, and sudden flash flood in Bangladesh has all damaged the food, the future food security of Bangladesh, because most of the rice, paddy, these were not matured. In a sudden flash flood, most of the Haur area, which is the hub of our source of our rice, is underwater now. So this is going to impact within next few months. Our food security will be under tremendous threat. And already one of the leading business leader of Bangladesh already said that within 3 months, maybe there will be no electricity in Bangladesh. He is afraid because he has given the statement that the order for the ready-made garments reduced, then the import of capital machinery is reduced, import of raw materials reduced. Only surviving factor is the foreign currency being sent by the overseas workers in terms of remittance.
Majorly in the Middle East nations.
Middle East region. But you see, if this continues, the Middle East business will also be in collapse. Already their aviation industry and the tourism industry both has been collapsed. And with the Hajj flights are being carrying out, and we are keenly observing what is the turnout in the Hajj this time, because people are afraid of going to Middle East now, because they are afraid whether they can come back or not.
So and whether the war spirals out of control.
So under this scenario, it will be very difficult for the world to sustain this war for longer period. And you need, in one side, China is gainer, Russia is gainer, but Iran itself is gainer, I should say, in some sense. Already the US bases in the Middle East region has been heavily damaged. Recent CNN investigation has clearly shown with facts, figure and picture that how their radar stations, how their command centers, how their aircrafts, how their runway and military bases were, what was the picture before the 28th of February and what is the latest picture now. So now nobody can hide. CNN has given a very investigative report.
Right.
So if this is the scenario, question will definitely be raised that if America cannot protect its military bases itself in the Middle East, why these Arab nations will be bothering for America anymore. So that will maybe change the scenario in future.
Very impressive analysis regarding the effects that we are facing here in Bangladesh, as well as some of the damages that have been done in the Middle East. I want to divert this issue towards Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington. You see, in Bangladesh, we are having sudden changes. Of course, the body of the two murders that happened in Florida, one of the bodies have landed in Bangladesh, according to local news. And the authorities here are trying to understand what kind of judiciary action that will happen in the U.S. But alongside, as Dr. Nasser was stating, that crops and crop yields have been affected by flooding, and some of these issues are very heartwarming to see that the farmer is affected at the end of the day. However, in the other instances, I want to ask this very question. Due to the war, how much is the United States of America food secure? Because there has been, or there will be, a food shortage due to the lack of pesticides, due to the lack of agricultural products, once again influencing from the Strait of Hormuz. I want to ask this to Norman. How would you value this upcoming threat, which is actually worldwide, in matter of fact? Norman.
Yes, thank you for the question. The Strait of Hormuz, the war between the United States and Iran, is, you have to take, if you step back and look and see exactly what is the core issue here, what is the problem? The issue is economic control, global control. We have the global South, which is emerging. We have the Western communities, which comes under what we call the global North. And there's a struggle here for this control of the future. All of these acts, these conflicts, these issues, these tariffs, these sanctions based on money. The issue of Iran is basically they don't have money. Sanctions. The sanctions are really destroying their economy. So what they're doing is basically trying to elicit some type of funding so they can keep their societies going in regards to the destruction of the infrastructure by the U.S. and Israel. Here in the United States, Bangladesh, and other countries, they are feeling that effect because of the stranglehold over this region, which 20% of the world trade and commerce emanate from. It is causing real problems everywhere. I mean, here in the United States, we mentioned Spirit Air going down, but we have now talking about another airline called JetBlue. It's talking about they don't have any money and they're about ready to go belly up. Major airline like Delta is talking about cutting flights, thousands of flights as we get into the season. So I'm looking at the other major airline follow suit. So this is causing real problems. The price of gasoline, the price of everything is going up. I mean, honestly, I can give you an example. One little simple thing, a bag of corn chips, popcorn in certain states, because of the oil companies' control, they have taken advantage of the situation. They're charging more for gas, but they're also charging things like when you go to the fuel station to get gas and you run inside to get a bag of popcorn or whatever like that. They're charging rates up between $9 and $12 a bag. This is
Right.
gouging. They're putting this money, they're transferring this over to the people. So the people are buying stuff. They buy, they have to buy stuff. But that cost of this war and that lack of movement of trade and commerce is now being pushed over to the common citizens. Here, Bangladesh, you have the same situation. The prices of everything goes up. If you have it, it's going to be outrageous prices if you can get it. And then there's going to be this situation now. We're going to have to, like the airlines doing. You drive this day, or you off the next day. There's going to be a rationing of this because of the lack of fuel. Europe is facing the same situation. They're going to have to figure out how do we move and live based on the current situation. So this is a temporary response to the issue, but it's not a long-term solution. Long-term solution, we have to figure out exactly how we're going to form or work as an economy globally and do things we need to do in a manner which we can do. It may cost more, it may involve us involving new technology, using less, using more renewable energies, creating new options, creating new trade routes, creating new everything has to be because what's happening now, this war has basically magnified the weakness we have in our global infrastructure. We are too dependent on fossil fuel energies and supplies from other places, and we don't build, produce, or do anything within our countries. We are just consumers. Consumers have to to understand they have to pay the price. So you
Of
have to
course.
have something that you can produce, you can introduce, or you can be constantly doing this over and over and over again. Wars, conflicts, sanctions,
Right.
scarcities. We're gonna have these issues, and we get to the issue of health issues. Next thing you're gonna hear that we're not gonna have resources to provide medications to people who need it because of this stranglehold over resources coming out of the region. India produces a lot of pharmaceutical stuff. How do we get it to the market? If we get it to the market, now they're going to put a premium price on it, up to 50, 100% response because of tariffs or whatever. And now the consumer, the average person, will suffer because of this. They will be pressed to the point where they cannot afford it. And then you will have revolt, then you will have more conflict. And the core issue is that economic development need to be developed between the countries so they can coexist. The whole issue we're dealing with conflict is basically you have and I don't have. You have access
Right.
to stuff that I don't have. So
Right.
if everybody had opportunity to contribute to meet their basic needs, again, food, water, and shelter, I do not believe we would be in this mess we're in. We're in a big, I call it hot mess because of our egos and greed.
Right, very brilliantly underlining some of the issues that are being faced all around the world by Norman Floyd Barnes. I recall a time when there was a new tariff package established by the US president and its administration, and a big conglomerate in the US, Walmart, was told to suck it up with the consumer, and the prices had increased in the shelves as well, something very similar to what Norman was stating. Ladies and gentlemen, very interesting debates happening on this very program. We have to go for a short commercial break. Please do stay tuned. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks,
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive.
Welcoming all our viewers back on International Affairs today. In the studio, I am joined with Dr. Nasir Uddin Ahmed as well as Norman Floyd Barnes from District of Columbia, Washington in the United States. I want to ask again once more to Norman, as we were talking about the real life impacts it has on human food, shelter as well. There has been a report from the CNN News Network as well. A couple of days ago, 3 to 2 days ago, we've seen Ro Khanna, member of the Congress, questioning Pete Hegseth on the true costings of the war, in which we used to know that it was $25 billion. However, because of this questioning, more information is now available. The 27 or so military bases in the Middle East all have taken damage, and without that estimated damage costs, we can't really tell how much far the U.S. taxpayer will be burdened. This is exactly what I wanted to ask Norman. How do you see this as 27 military establishments all under attack from Iran in the last 65 days, maybe in the beginning? However, they have outlived its real purpose of trying to protect these Middle Eastern territories. How would you see this as immense amount of monetary costs will be held, of course, as well? So, Norman, I want to get a comment from you regarding the damages been done to the military establishments and assets in the Middle East.
yes, this war has the estimates from the Pentagon has been grossly underestimated, underreported, not published. The $25 billion they're talking about as the cost so far, I would say is double that right now. 50 to $100 billion has been spent. We're spending, almost $2 billion a day just to maintain our presence in the area. The losses from the bases has not been reported to the public, but they are very severe, very damaging, great losses, great costs. That cost has not been calculated, but we can estimate it will be in the billions regards to that. Going back and setting that up, fixing it up, rebuilding it, it will be very costly. So it will be questions coming up for Congress on exactly who's going to pay for this, how are we going to pay for it, and as midterms come up, the question, actually the issue going to come up is why do we need to go back into that? There's been requests, part of the 14 points by Iran is that we don't want you here. We don't want you have the bases here. And they said that for a reason, because they already know that the bases has been destroyed or put into a point where it is not cost efficient to repurpose them. So one of the things that may come out of that, that you may see a shifting of the resources that we have in the region. We're talking about this 5,000 troops coming from Germany. They may be reassigned to that region somewhere. So there's cost hidden that is going to be in the hundreds of billions of dollars in regards to this conflict. And this is something that's eating at the administration as we go day to day. Every day is costing more, but we're not gaining anything. So at some point in time, someone has to show the bill and someone has to pay the bill. So without an explanation, without results, it looks very bleak for the current administration right now in terms of why, the original question, why are we into this conflict and what is our exit plan? We do not have an exit plan. We do have an expense plan right now. Right now it's very expensive and it's going to be more expensive. And so decisions have to be made. So you may see some concessions coming from the administration because of the cost of doing this type of conflict is not in the best interest of the American public and definitely not in the best interest of the United States America First plan. So it is contrary to that. It's not making money. It's not a good deal.
Right, and that was quite important regarding the monetary aspects of this war and how this conflict is actually eating away into the banking sector as well in various nations. I want to come into the studio with Dr. Nasser. As you were hearing Norman answering some of the questions regarding this very issue of how much expenditures is the nation of the United States facing. On the other hand, I want to change the direction of the talking regarding the worldwide affairs. We see that on the other hand, Israel has continued its expedition into southern Lebanon to fight Hezbollah. The latest news suggests that Hezbollah took up some drone attacks, FPV drones, to attack some of the strongholds of Israel's escalation into southern Lebanon. And the fighting seems to be continuing even after having a ceasefire negotiation in Washington in the United States. How would you see this? Hezbollah is now looking towards a different kind of tactics in the warfare, similar to those of Russia and Ukraine in the very initial stages as well.
Thank you. Before that, I will just like to touch upon a point raised by Norman. He said that not 25 billion, it could be 50 billion. But very recently, Al Jazeera has published one article which says that it may cross 1 trillion or more. Otherwise, why Donald Trump is asking so many defense budget for new phase of the war, number one. And they have highlighted that this costing not only the mere damage of 16 US bases in the Middle East, repair cost has not been included here. The cost of war did not include the repair cost of this particular facilities of the Middle East, and also the environmental damage, health damage, refugee crisis coming up, lifestyle, and most importantly, image of the USA itself and geopolitical influence over the Middle East as far as US influence is concerned, that has been damaged, which cost has not been included. If you include all these costs, it will definitely multiply by many folds. That is the statement.
Definitely won't go down, it will only be an increase in the amount.
Definitely. Yeah. And Donald Trump rightly said, this is the war without an aim of ending or winning. It is the war of expanding only. So that is the very dangerous statement, I should say. And coming back to the Israeli aspect of the war, this is a very debate. Who has started or influenced this war? Is it USA has taken Israel beside them to wage this war, or it is the Israel which has instigated Donald Trump or the US administration to go for this war. So keeping this debate aside, what you have rightly said is very alarming, that ceasefire is in vogue. Ceasefire in the Lebanon is in vogue, but Israel is not giving any importance to the terms and condition or the instrument of this ceasefire. They are giving the continuous attack on that, and very recently 5 of the medics, the medical staff, they have lost their lives. 5 very recently, maybe yesterday or last night.
Right.
And again, even in Gaza Strip, they have come out with a so-called orange line. That is, they are going to expand the Israeli territory or the influence of Israeli occupation forces more towards the Gaza Strip. Already it is a very narrow strip, but again they have drawn another orange line. They called it an orange line. They are going to control over up to that orange line even. Again, that will instigate another front before Israel.
And of course, it's important to see how they are the modern day pirates in this scenario. They've attacked a global Sumud flotilla even after 1,000 kilometers away from their own waters
territory, water territory. That means that Israel, with the help of USA, is not bothered about the whole world sentiment. Whole world is thinking in one line, and Israel and USA is thinking in another line. That reminds me, if a country or if a force or if a coalition thinks themselves so powerful, that instigates another country, even the nuclear war, start the nuclear war.
Right.
And I will not be surprised if same mentality is, if it is injected in the mind of the North Korean administration, what is going to happen next, because they are testing one after another ballistic missiles, not telling anything, observing. China is also not telling anything, observing, but it is very quite sure that it is the Chinese satellite and the Russian intelligence network which has given the specific targets regarding the Middle East deployment of US troops and their bases in the Middle East. So the information is now in the hand of Iran, information is in the hand of the North Korean army, information with China, information with Russia. Information is not the problem, and the armaments are also ready. The only thing is that who will going to rule this world next?
Who's going to take the first attack? I believe a very beautiful statement. I want to ask Norman very shortly regarding Israel, regarding southern Lebanon, and how they have stopped the global Sumud flotilla and taken people hostage as well. Modern day piracy hosted by Israel. How would you see this issue as happening? Norman.
Yes, this is modern day piracy. This is basically another sense what we call part of their genocidal program to basically to ensure that the Palestinians are not allowed to rise again, be relevant in the area, and to secure the area so they can take it over. So by eliminating them, both by destroying their land, bombing them, killing the people, now the survivors are not able to receive the necessary nutriments, food, water, shelter to survive. So the issue is basically it's extermination. This is another form of extermination by denying resources, help, and aid into the area to ensure, to guarantee that they were never able to rise up again by eliminating the people.
Right, a very beautiful ending there regarding Israel, regarding how they have managed to wipe out 80,000 Palestinian livelihoods and of course wounding 500,000 people in this modern day genocide led by Benjamin Netanyahu and his government in Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, time to take a short break. Afterwards, we talk about politics in our region. There is some stir-up in West Bengal we shall be touching on as well. Please do stay tuned on the program for more.
Footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With presidency of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Welcoming all our viewers back on the last segment of International Affairs. We were talking about worldwide issues, and I want to thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining us on the program. I believe the broadcast has ended for Norman. There are some issues that I want to bring to the story for Bangladesh as well as surrounding neighborhood countries as well. We know that there is an election happening in West Bengal province that will decide who shall be in the Legislative Assembly election. I want to ask Dr. Nasser, usually we see the Trinamool Congress, All India Trinamool Congress, TMC, being in lead in this area in West Bengal, led by Mamata Banerjee as well, popular politician in West Bengal. However, multiple media reports are saying that the ruling BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, is making major gains. How would you see this, as there are some issues that we share along the border, especially if a neighbor wants to release crocodiles and snakes as a method to deter Bengalis walking into their land, I must reassess how they see us, either as humans or as creatures. I want to get an answer from you.
Okay, the relation between Bangladesh and India is one side of the coin. The other side is relation between Bangladesh and West Bengal people.
Right.
And supplementary, Bangladesh and the people of Tripura itself. There are 7 sisters, but we are more inclined with Tripura than that of, say, Mizoram or Nagaland or any other sisters known as the 7 sisters. Especially, we are very much affiliated or emotionally attached with the West Bengal and particularly Kolkata, because of our culture, our linkage of our ancestors, and many other issues are there. This is very important. It is a turning point in the politics of West Bengal as on today. Mamata Banerjee with her Trinamool Congress started her journey back in 2011. If I can remember, that was 20th May 2011, and last 15 years consecutively she had been winning the election and ruling the West Bengal. Bangladesh faced problem and also enjoyed some advantage out of it. Problem is that whenever there was an issue to settle the border disputes, water dispute, and some of the trade barriers, West Bengal pointed towards the center administration, that is the Delhi administration, that we are liberal, we want to do this, but we cannot do it because the center is not allowing us to do, or we are not permitted to do so as per the constitutional embargo is there. And again, once we go to Delhi, we have all the intentions, but we need a consent from the West Bengal government, because we cannot ignore their sentiment. So this is how the tug of war had been going on. If there is same political force both in West Bengal and Delhi, now nobody can point each other. So that will be advantage for Bangladesh for getting some benefit out of the total scenario. Again, there will be some disadvantages as well, because it is widely known that the Muslim community in the West Bengal, they are inclined towards not BJP, towards the Mamata, and very news headlines were there, Mamata is taking advantage or getting more votes, because in the Muslim where the number of Muslim population is more.
Right.
So that will be a turning point for the BJP administration to take a serious action against the Muslims, because they will have to, there must be, their aim is not only the local government of the West Bengal, they are aiming at the overall Lok Sabha election, that is the which will form the government for ruling the entire India. So for that they need to secure the BJP votes, and the main tool to increase the BJP vote and the anti-BJP vote will be reduce the number of Muslim voters by any means. It happened in Assam, it happened in Manipur, it happened in Tripura, and it will not be unlikely if it happens in West Bengal as well. If there is some decision which goes against the interest of the Muslims of West Bengal, again that will create a unrest in the whole region, and I'll not be surprised if there is again a push-in problem. If the Muslims are forced to leave West Bengal, and if they are concentrated in the border area, and in a fine morning we find something coming up, forcefully somebody is being pushed inside Bangladesh territory, like the Rohingya crisis or something like that, that will create another havoc in the area, because we really cannot sustain any other influx of refugees anymore.
Of course, a very defined answer regarding what we hold with our neighbor in India, and as well a viewpoint into the West Bengal elections. Of course, I would want to thank Dr. Nasir for appearing on the program, providing an insight, and of course giving time to the expansion of international affairs here on this set. I thank you for being here today as well. I must thank Norman Floyd Barnes as well for joining from Washington, District of Columbia. I want to end with our foreign policy. As when Bangladesh was born, our policy was friendship to all and malice to none, and I hope that we can continue this foreign policy here after many more years. Finishing off with a fact, today is May the 4th and is also celebrated as Star Wars Day, captioning May the 4th be with you, and also International Firefighters Day, which is to honor the sacrifices and bravery of firefighters worldwide, established in 1999. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to sign out on International Affairs. I shall see you all tomorrow.